Red Dead Online is officially dead. And even though it's not a main game that I play all the time, I'm sad about it. And there's a reason for that. Mostly because I thought it was a really good game set in the West, and I loved Red Dead Redemption 2, but also because that was the game that really got Chris sort of started into liking gaming as more than just something that was a hobby of mine. Um, Anyway, let's talk about that. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfill, also known as the Bearded Dwarven Princess occasionally for the Rings of Power stuff that I do in Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings Online. But today we're talking Red Dead Online, which unfortunately has I mean, it's not dead yet, but the writing is on the wall at this point. On July 7th, Rockstar Games published an update to Newswire confirming that Red Dead Online would not receive any more major themed content updates as the studio shifts development resources onto Grand Theft Auto 6. The news came less than a week before July 13th, the 1 year anniversary of Red Dead Online's last major update, Blood Money. Now, this is via IGN. And there's also an article over here that talks about it's good that Red Dead Online is officially dead. It's good that we can finally move on. I don't agree with this per se, but we will be kind of going through this one from thegamer.com as well. Um, I, for all its strengths and weaknesses, I'm someone who is vehemently vocal about being anti PvP. And this was one of the few games that I played that had PvP in it. But I like the fact that I could turn myself like off so that I could run missions without being PvP'd. I did risk a few of the missions where you're forced to go into PvP, and every single time I did one, I got ganked and I really disliked it. And I never played Red Dead Online with friends. I played Red Dead Online by myself, but I did get up into the 80s. I maxed out it's been about 8 months since I've played it, so I know I maxed out the Bounty Hunter tier, and I also maxed out the Moonshining tier, and the other one where you're a trapper, a hunter, and everything else. So I maxed out three of the career paths that you could take for your character. And honestly, for me, it was just a great game that I could log into and just sort of get on a horse, go out and see amazing landscapes, hunt, fish, do all the things that I like to do in real life, but I don't necessarily have access to given, living in the city at the time, living in Mexico City, and then now where we are in the countryside, um, southeast Mexico. I don't get to do all these things all the time. So this is the great sort of game that gives me an escape to go do the things that I like to do, which is ride horses and get around. Which this might sound weird to those of you who are like, "Wait, you're a gamer." Well, if you don't know me and you don't know my background and you're not long-term member of our community, I grew up on a dairy farm. I grew up on a cattle ranch. I grew up riding horses and fishing and all these things. And so this is sort of ingrained into my DNA. And even though I prefer to live in cities and I don't necessarily participate in the ranch lifestyle anymore, despite the family still operating a cattle ranch, I do go back. Chris and I go up to my brother's cattle ranch usually once a year, and we usually spend 3 to 4 months on the ground to help out and sort of get our get that out of our systems. And this game allowed me to sort of have that year round and the opportunity to just jump in and have that. Now, I've played Red Dead Redemption 2 through all the way twice. It is without a doubt in my top 5 games of all time. It is absolutely an amazing game. I cry every time you get to the one ending. You know what I'm talking about, those of you who've played through the game. Um, and then going beyond that and playing as John Marston and leading up to the events of Red Dead 1, this is just a great game. From a storytelling perspective, it was a great game. It also has the best horse management and control system and animations of any game I've ever played. And beyond that, it's just a breathtakingly beautiful game. Um, the repetitiveness of the online gameplay was definitely there with Red Dead Online, but it didn't bother me so much because, again, I just liked to log on for stints here and there. If you remember back when I was first kind of getting going with my YouTube channel, if you've been here a little bit, I used to play this game 3, 4 times a week with coffee in the morning. I would literally get up, and the first thing I would do in the morning was I would get up and I would stream Red Dead Online with coffee. I would just get online for an hour, hour and a half. I'd run a few trapping missions, go hunt and kill some animals, and bring them back to my camp and process them. And I'd do that, and then I'd do one run into town to deliver, and then I'd be done for the day. Or I'd go run some bounty hunting missions. I haven't really played since we moved. It's been at least 4 months. I think it's been more like 8 months. Because I think we stopped playing a few months before we moved. But I want to talk about Chris's perspective into this. Which for me was one of the things that really made me like this game even more than I did normally. Now, before we get to that point, I got to do my call to action here, everybody, which is if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you can continue to get updates like this delivered to you every time I have new updates out. Don't forget to join the Discord. Links are down below. I do stream almost every single day from about 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and every evening from about 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. So if you check out those live streams, that'd be awesome as well. If you want to support the channel, you can do so in a variety of ways. You can do a super thanks on these videos, the published videos, which allows you to choose the amount to support me as a content creator. But you can also join as a member of the Adventurers Guild. Links down there. It's $2.99 a month. We do a lot of cool stuff for our members. And of course, if you're on a live stream, you can do super thanks and super stickers. You can also gift memberships now, which is a cool new feature on YouTube. And of course, we also have a Patreon page for that world map behind me, patreon.com/wandering hermits, where my brother, my wife, and I are building the world Weave in the Void, which is a 5th edition tabletop setting, point and click adventure game, and a book series. So check all that stuff out. Anyway, let's go back to talking about Red Dead Online. So I really loved it because all the aforementioned things, but also because this was the game Chris would sit and watch me play. And Chris loves horses and she loves the outdoors and she likes camping and she likes all of these things. So for her, it was an escapist thing. And it was the first game on the PlayStation 4, the only game on the PlayStation 4, I might add, the first and only game on the PS4 that she ever asked if she could play. And I said, hell yeah, you could play. This is the first and only game that we spun up a PS4 account for her so that she could log into this game. And this was the game where she started learning how to play on the PlayStation 4 and learning how to use a console controller and was not very good at it, but she didn't care. Like the shooting component of the game drove her nuts. Like and granted, she only got to play a few months before we got busy with other stuff and then we got into the move. And so she hasn't ever gone back and played, which is a sad thing for me that this game is sunsetting now because I saw how much fun she had and in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, well, one day once we get settled into the new place, we'll go back and play this game together because now that I have the Xbox, the idea was I don't know if it's available on the Xbox, but I was assuming that I could just get a version on the Xbox and have her play on the PS4 and we could play together. I don't even know if that's possible. Anyway, I digress. She had a lot of fun in this game and she loved just getting on a horse, riding around, harvesting plants, fishing, and then occasionally being like, oh, look, there's a deer, and then trying to shoot the deer. And when she eventually brought down a deer, it was always a big thing because her aim's not very good. But talking about the sunsetting of the game, some people have tried to put together this save Red Dead Online movement, um, but it's not going to happen. The company has already decided that it's going to sunset the game. There are some absolutely breathtaking screenshots here. Like I said, one of the reasons I loved this game so much was just because how good it looked. And, I didn't play this game with other people, but I know some people did, and some people loved this online co-op version. Oh, yeah, the fact that you can play poker in this game is so cool. Moonshiners. Um, I can't believe that this game is going to get sunset. Now, it hasn't officially been sunset yet, but it is obviously on its way out, and the writing's on the wall at this point. Now, there's this article over at Red Dead, excuse me, thegamer.com, which talks about how it's good that Red Dead Online is officially dead. Um, and the person, it says, for the record, I'm not saying it's a good thing that Rockstar abandoned Red Dead Online in the first place, um, but they're saying it was never going to work when you consider how driven GTA Online is by high-octane gunfights, satirical storytelling, and an open world that in many ways is very different to what Red Dead Redemption set out to achieve. The game was rigged from the start. And they talk about the problems with how they couldn't quite figure out how to get Red Dead's multiplayer to work within the GTA Online framework. And really, they were trying to copy what they had going on with GTA Online, but it wasn't transcribing, it wasn't translating into how to be a fun experience for players. What's really, understandable, they make a good point here is that online games always fade away eventually, and while it's disappointing that Red Dead Online died so soon, every had the chance, we all have to move on. Rockstar's confirmation kills any hope that the game might get better, so now we should all abandon it too. Um, that's the part where I kind of agree to disagree. Until the game is sunset, it's still going to provide a home for a lot of people, like my wife as an example, who might be able to come on and enjoy it, even if there's no future updates. It still exists, it's still online, and you'll still be able to progress through all the different career paths and enjoy the beautiful landscapes and the fun quests that are already there, because there are quite a few fun mission quests, and it is rather fun to pursue those career paths. Now, people would say that it's not worth it now because the game is officially dead and on its way out of the water, but I still think it's worth investing time into if you like the games. And let's face it, there aren't really any other Wild West themed multiplayer games that you can dive into on the console. Is this game also available on the PC? I don't know. I've only ever played it on the PS4. I think it's sad. I loved this game. It was the first game that got Chris into the PS4, and I'm really hoping if this eventually gets sunset within the next couple of years, I really hope we see something coming in the pipeline in the future um, that could take the place of Red Dead Online, because I see this as the game that I could eventually play with Chris online for many more years to come if it was going to be something that could actually exist and survive beyond a 3 year, update. See you next time, everybody. Leave your thoughts and comments below.